Capricorn, welcome to your weekly reading. Let's get started and see what messages we have for Capricorn, Sun, Moon, and Rising positions for the week ahead, keeping in mind that these are general readings and may not resonate for everyone. So make sure to check out your other placements because you could have messages there. And if you're looking for a personal reading, have a look at the description below. I am offering a promotion for the month of May. And so it's a good time to get a reading if you've been wanting one. All right, let's get started here for Capricorn. What is the current energy around Capricorn for the week ahead? Oh, look at that. Okay, seeing the King of Pentacles with the Two of Cups in reverse. Very interesting because, you know, this speaks volumes actually. This tells me a few things. This tells me that you're not seeing eye to eye with your higher self right now. You may be overly focused on trying to create a sense of balance in terms of your material life. You may have way too much going on right now that you're overly focused on trying to provide for yourself, that you're not seeing eye to eye with yourself on something else. This also tells me that there could be a situation involving a relationship in your life where you're not 100% sure if you should commit to this again. And I say again because it feels like a past relationship that you committed to once, that now you're sort of at a place where should you reinvest in this or not? And it almost feels like you could be dealing with another earth sign, seeing Taurus and Virgo energy in my mind here, maybe another Capricorn. Feels like there's a lot of uncertainty and lack of understanding, a hard time seeing eye to eye with yourself or another person. And let's see what the obstacle is in this situation. What's the obstacle here for Capricorn? Eight of Swords. So the Eight of Swords is a time where we're overthinking. We're maybe afraid of the consequences of not reconnecting with something. We're thinking, oh man, if I say this is over, then it's really over. And what are the consequences to making that kind of decision? Seeing the Five of Cups on the bottom of the deck. Wow, Capricorn, this is very emotional for you. It feels like you're focused on being, you know, disappointed or let down. You might have your own sort of thoughts of regret or remorse. It feels like, I was going to say regress. And so it almost feels like you're way too focused on past stuff right now. And, you know, it's almost like the past has been knocking at your door, trying to get back in. And you're trying to decide if you should answer the door or not, right? Should you open the door for the past or leave it knocking and hope it'll go away? Let's see. What is top of mind for Capricorn right now? What's top of mind for Capricorn right now? Ooh, that feels like way too many cards. Let's have a look at them anyway. Oh boy, very revealing though. So top of mind is quite a story here. We're looking at a situation that broke your heart, and I think that you're trying to decide whether or not to allow it to be completely over. It involves a lot of people. It doesn't just involve one person. It feels like there is one person at the center of it, but that by sort of closing the loop on this with the World card, you're actually closing the loop on a whole chapter that involves a lot of people, you know, a lot of friendships. So there may have been a relationship or an experience you had in the past that ended and, you know, brought in a lot of stress. Whenever you think about it, you feel like fear, anxiety. These are not feelings that evoke, should I return? These are feelings that say, you know, without exaggerating, excuse me, these are feelings that say the nightmare continues. I think whenever you get a message from any of these people or the person, the key person, if they're in touch with you, you start to feel this nightmare relive itself again in your present energy. I think that they elicit a sense of anxiety within you. And seeing the World card here says, let this just be done. You know, let it be done. But again, I think you're afraid of the consequences of doing that because you know that that would be closing this chapter for good. And there's a part of you that's hesitating on that. Should I let this chapter close or not? And I think it's intriguing that we're seeing the 10 of swords on the bottom of the deck. Like, this situation ended in such a painful way. You've got the 8, 9, and 10 of swords here. Talk about some heavy energy, you know, with the 3 of swords as well, 2 of cups in reverse. I mean, wow, this situation was a big teacher in your life. It taught you a lot about yourself and what you desire out of a relationship and out of a community of people. And I think that top of mind for you is this has to be, I have to let this cycle end. It has to close. And, you know, seeing this card on the bottom of the deck kind of confirms to me that this is best left in the past. If you have placements in Sagittarius, you may want to watch that one as well, because it kind of feels like it's relevant if you have placements in Sagittarius. Very interesting. Okay, let's see here. What's at the root of this for Capricorn? What's driving this whole reading? The moon in reverse. So I laugh only because there's so much unknown about this situation. I think you're really far away from it. Like, these, you know, it almost feels like this experience is physically far from you. That there's so many unknown variables here. And I think you're feeling everything very energetically right now. And it could be causing a lot of anxiety and stress and fear. That's confirmed with that 9 of swords. But the moon in reverse can also be a time where, you know, imagine that you're sort of stumbling around outside in the dark and it's just the moon guiding you. And so there's a difficulty here when we see the moon in reverse between separating reality from illusion. And we're having an inability to sort of interpret things because fear could be really blocking us right now. Fear of consequence, fear of closure, fear of a new beginning, fear of moving forward without this story in place anymore. This must have been very significant to you because I feel like you're still carrying it as if it happened yesterday. You know what I mean? Even though I feel like it happened in the past, a distant past. This is a time to remind yourself that in the space away from this that you're in the present moment, you're safe. And this doesn't have to stay as part of a narrative that you hang on to anymore. And so the uncertainty that's here is sort of trying to guide you away from your fears and into a place where you breathe out any sort of past insecurities and allow the present moment to sort of embrace you with a more healing energy that allows you to sort of reinvigorate yourself and to remember that you're safe in the present moment. You've gotten distance from this. Why you would want to keep it in your present, it must have been something that you have a strong emotional attachment to, and that's saying the least, right? Let's see what the past influences are here. Well, that's too many. Let's shuffle again. Past influences. Oh my God, so many cards wanting to come out. Oh my goodness. You got 3 9s, Capricorn, 3 9s. 9 of Cups in reverse, 9 of Pentacles in reverse, and the 9 of Wands upright, which says to me that this situation in the past left you feeling unsatisfied with that 9 of Cups, completely unsatisfied, like your desires went unmet. It left you feeling very disempowered. So whatever happened left you feeling like almost zero confidence, and that you almost had to start over. I think you had to start from the ground up when you left this situation. Kind of makes me feel like you left with the clothes on your back. And 9 of Wands says that it left you in a place where you were really burnt out, almost to the point of needing assistance or attention, because you were so depleted by this on all levels, emotional, your confidence, your will, all of it. Like, wow, you've got all the 9s in your reading. 9 of Swords, 9 of Wands, 9 of Pentacles, and 9 of Cups. And the 2 that are in reverse tell me that you were unsatisfied and disempowered by this situation. This is best left in the past. This is coming out with the 2 Two of Wands. And I think that's because in the past you chose to get away from this. You felt unsatisfied, you felt disempowered, you felt burnt out, and then you made the choice to move away from it. And now it's still here. And it's trying to get your attention again. And it's like it's trying to rebuild. And it's up to you, but this reading certainly is guiding you to be very careful about how you make your next choice here. Let's look at the upcoming energy around this. Oh boy, nostalgia, star card in reverse. Oh my goodness. I feel like in the future, this situation is just going to turn up the volume on you a bit. And it's going to bring in more sentimentality and nostalgia to try to convince you to come back to this situation. And it's almost like we're seeing the star card in reverse because you escaped this once already. And now it's back trying to get you to return. And it's almost like, will you return to it? Will you doubt yourself? And sort of, you got to watch the Sagittarius reading if you have placements, because this is really very, very interestingly similar. It's like the rose-colored glasses are convincing you of the self-doubt. Like they're convincing you to doubt yourself, to almost forget how painful this was in the first place, and that it was so difficult to move away from it in the past. And it's really interesting. We're seeing Aquarius energy, Pisces energy, Virgo energy. I feel like you chose yourself, and it's been a struggle to continue to choose yourself since you moved away from this, because the past is knocking at your door, trying to say, hello, let me in. I want to be in the present again. Let's try again, is what I'm hearing. Let's see, how does Capricorn see themselves right now? As the Fool in reverse. Capricorn, so interesting, because that says to me, you want to take a leap of faith. But I think you're considering this. You may be considering this because you think maybe something has changed. But also there's a part of you that's like, no, nothing's changed. I'm not going to go down this road again. There's no way. It's like there's a part of you that sort of feels like there could be a new beginning, that there may be some need, there may be some cause for optimism here. And then there's a part of you that's also saying, I'm not doing this again. There's no way. I'm going to trust my intuition and not do this again. But I think there's also a part of you thinking, but what if things have changed? And what if things are different now? What if the time apart has changed the situation? And so it's interesting. It's like you see yourself at the point of a new beginning, and you're either going to dive into it to go back to the past, or you're going to dive into it to go, no thanks, and move forward towards the future. But it's very tricky because I feel like this is knocking loudly at your door right now to try to convince you to come back. Two of Pentacles on the bottom of the deck, which says that there is a decision, a directional choice to make. And you had the Two of Wands in the past. So I think you used your will in the past to move away from something. And now in the future, or in the present, excuse me, you sort of have this opportunity again. But I almost feel like we're seeing the Pentacles here because it's like, how much of yourself are you going to invest in this? But I think you have a big fear of the outcome, or the consequences of saying no. I think you also have a fear of saying yes. You don't know what to do with this, because if it almost feels like there's so much riding on it. Like if you go back to this, it's almost like you're starting at the beginning again, at zero. And I feel like in the meantime, you've been doing stuff to establish yourself again. And will you sort of change directions all of a sudden? I guess it'll be up to you. Let's see how you're coming across. What is the outward expression of Capricorn right now? Oh yeah, see? You're trying to decide. And it may be written on your energy that you're trying to make a decision about whether or not to give up on what you've been working on and move back towards this, or stay on track and let this just be in the past. Four of Wands on the bottom of the deck in reverse, which is a time where when I see this card in the reverse, it always makes me feel like be grateful for where you're at now. Because man, oh man, did it take a lot of energy for you to move away from this when it first went down. So be grateful that you got the distance from this. And I'm almost feeling like stay towards the present, but you've got to decide for yourself. Let's see what the fear and hope is around this. What are the hopes and fears around this? Oh, interesting. I think we're seeing here the Queen of Pentacles in reverse with the Page of Rods upright. So it's almost like there's a part of you that's like, I'm going to continue on the path of self-discovery. That's my hope. And then there's a part of you that's almost willing to sacrifice themselves with that Queen of Pentacles. Like you're almost willing to put yourself on the back burner to see what could happen in this situation moving forward, where you may be overly invested or enmeshed or entangled with someone else's energy. And it's like you're prioritizing their energy over your energy. And by doing so, again, Five of Cups on the bottom of the deck. They let you down, Capricorn. This energy let you down once before. And I feel like you're weighing that heavily into your decision. And, you know, it almost feels like this has been coming into accumulation for a while. I remember reading for Capricorn many readings of a past energy trying to come back and you leaving them on red. Like you just sort of being like, there's no way I'm letting that in again. And here it is knocking at your door, you know, and I think the only reason you're tempted is because of this nostalgia in the Six of Cups and the fear of actually letting this go for real, like sending it away and not answering the door. You know what I mean? Let's see, what are the potential outcomes here for Capricorn in this situation? Potential outcome for Capricorn. Hierophant in reverse. My friends, this situation is outdated. And going back to it is like it almost feels like there's a bridge in the Hierophant between the life you're living here and the divine guidance from your higher self. And it's almost like the guidance from your higher self is saying this is an outdated system or experience, and moving towards it feels like it won't serve you. Let's see what's on the bottom of the deck. Look, it's the Five of Swords in reverse, which is a time where we're having a difficult time letting go of something that was very defeating. The card that follows this is the Six of Swords, which is us getting into the boat and moving away from this, right? With the clothes on our back, the wounded warrior. So it feels to me, Capricorn, that like this is outdated. This is old, and it's time to let it just be one of the archives in the past, but not to bring it into the future. So if the past is knocking at your door, this reading is sort of guiding you to see that as an outdated system that no longer serves you. And look, it's not for you on the bottom of the deck. It's not for you. Let's shuffle and see what card you get. Highest guidance for Capricorn on this situation. Okay. Okay, one fell on the floor. Let me grab it. Okay, so we're seeing here fork in the road. So you really have a decision to make, Capricorn. You have a decision to make here that I think is one you need to consider carefully. The card that had fallen on the floor was the Fates in reverse. Now, when that Fates card shows up in reverse, it can often be a time where something is happening that, you know, is part of a contract. Like it's part of a larger narrative of a storyline or a contract that we're here to explore in this lifetime. And seeing it in reverse can sort of underscore this idea that it can be difficult to understand why painful things happen, but that there is always sort of an underlying reason, and that life will get better if we're able to sort of accept things as they have happened. So revisiting this sort of feels to me like that's not the lesson here. The lesson isn't to go back to it. I think the lesson is to understand that sometimes painful things happen to show us that that's not where we belong anymore. You know what I mean? And it's interesting because I feel like you're sort of getting this message of being flexible as well, and not just looking at how it might, be scary to let go of this situation. Because I think that's the major obstacle, is that you're afraid to let it go completely. You don't want it to go away completely, but that at the same time, being flexible with the idea that just because something is over doesn't mean that we're at a loss. I actually feel like you could be at a loss if you went back. But ultimately, this is your decision to make, Capricorn. So you're going to have to sort of really do some deep dive here and see how you feel about this. Because I feel like the past is knocking on your door pretty loudly right now. And eventually it's going to want an answer. So it's up to you. I'm going to leave it at that. Thank you so much for joining me for this reading. I hope it's been helpful. And I look forward to reading for you again soon, my friends. I'm sending you so much love and light. Take care.